For me, the key word is focus, and focus implies priorities.
And Shalini, welcome. And what do you think will define leadership in sustainable consumer products in the coming years?
So at Colgate-Palmolive, we're at an important inflection point. We are closing out our 2025, we call it our sustainability and social impact strategy, and we're rolling out now our 2030 strategy. And really, it's an evolution, not a revolution. So we are developing language and a framework that helps to translate our sustainability initiatives into business language so that we can make better decisions and build it and embed it into existing business processes like capital allocation and budgeting processes. And that helps us to focus and make better decisions and ensure that all the initiatives that we're taking on drive the business first and foremost. One more point I want to add is this is underpinned by a principle that we call win-win-win. The first win is for the consumer. When we innovate perceivably superior, more sustainable products, we build brand trust. Then the second win is for the company, for Colgate. By building brand trust, we build brand loyalty, which can drive value creation. At the same time, we work to protect against risk for the business. And then finally, if we do those two right, then the planet wins. We can only drive impact at scale for the planet if we have a healthy business when Colgate and the consumer wins.
How do leaders balance long-term sustainability goals with short-term pressures in order to protect affordability and performance?
I think the short answer is doing this, right? I think we are in a new era where it is about ensuring that what you're doing in sustainability is very closely tied to not just business processes and so on, but business outcomes, as you said, right? So it's really about thinking about where can sustainability be not just achieved while doing business outcomes, but where can sustainability actually catalyze those business outcomes? How do you get to more resilience because you are being sustainable? How do you get to better innovation, which, in consumer industry has stagnated for a while? How do you get to newer ideas, more innovation within large businesses? Because so much of the innovation is happening with small brands right now. How do you get that innovation and use sustainability as the way to trigger that and to drive that? So I think it is this, making it more measurable, making it more linked into business, exactly as you said, and then embedding it and using it as a fuel to drive business value.
On top of what she said, I think what we're trying to do as leaders in this space is to ensure that our companies keep one foot anchored in the long term, and that we do that by really looking for and establishing the resilience message, right? So at the same time, the rest of the business is dealing with the volatility on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
We have to help the business keep an eye on the long term.
100%.
Both for growth and resilience.
100%.
Yeah.
So what do companies need to stop doing if they truly want to lead on sustainability?
That's a big question, not just in sustainability. We're always asking ourselves, if we want to do this, what do we stop here? It's such a challenge. I think for me, the key word is focus, and focus implies priorities. We really want to make sure that we're leaning into where we want to lead, and we want to lead in areas that are most important to our business. So that means, trying to keep resources focused and not diluted into a lot of other things that may not be as relevant for the business.
I think for a lot of leading sustainability companies, what they did right compared to others was prevent that temptation of trying to do everything, right? So you and I have talked about, the way we frame it is comply, compete, lead, and shape. Where do you need to just comply? Where do you need to stay on par with others? What is it that you want to be known for to lead, and where do you shape? So that focus is probably the most important thing, but I'll add one more. I think in this time that we're in, with so much strain on resources, with so many stretches in so many directions, companies must stop putting ambition as the focus, right? Setting ambition and not focusing on action. Setting the next set of goals, setting the next announcement. It's not that time anymore. We're done with that. It's really about figuring out focus and making it happen.
Shalini, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.